joy, and love. Rob Blackstorm. I was just pondering and grinding in my head the audacity of humanity when it comes to magic. You know, everybody hates, well, not everybody, but most people, they hate secret societies, they hate Freemasons, they hate the elite. But with the little bit of magic that we know, right, that the public, I should say at large, has been aware of, such as putting period blood in stew and spaghetti, and, you know, same thing with where you could put sperm and period blood and stew and spaghetti to bind someone. That is slavery.
Well, that's what you wanted to do.
It's slavery. There's no other way to explain it. That is making someone a slave. You know, and other nefarious forms of magic. You have to understand that everything isn't for everybody. In secret societies and cliques and people who keep knowledge to themselves, it's necessary because it's like in Black Panther, when Black Panther 2 rather, when the Queen Mother went to the United Nations because they were trying to get the vibranium from Wakanda. And the Queen Mother said, you guys aren't spiritually, I'm paraphrasing, but you guys aren't spiritually adept enough. You have not elevated into Christ consciousness enough to be able to deal with this vibranium, aka vibranium vibration. You're not strong enough. Your team ain't strong enough, Dunny. If we gave you this vibranium, you guys would destroy each other based on where you are in humanity.
It has always been our policy to never trade vibranium under any circumstance. Not because of the dangerous potential of vibranium, but because of the dangerous potential of you.
Right? And most people are vibrating on an animal and beast level. And those that aren't are seeking to bind and control. Now, it may not be with herbs. It may not be with period blood or sperm, right? It may not be with rituals and sacred geometry and pentagrams, right? But if you look in these magic groups on Facebook, and most of the things that people are talking about are either hexes or control, as far as love or manipulation. People aren't talking about spells on how to open up your chakras. People aren't talking about spells on how to enhance and develop your third eye vision. People are talking about spells on how to heal your trauma and go back in your past life and reconcile with your inner child and reconcile with your enemies so that your trauma and your pain is not informing your decisions. These aren't things that people are discussing in modern magic today. And this is with a little bit of information that people have gleaned off the internet, that people have gleaned off Pinterest, that people have gleaned off YouTube, the influencers, so forth and so on. So imagine if these people really, really had access to higher knowledge that the so-called elite has. And this is why they keep it away from the masses. It's just like Dave Chappelle. They gave you niggas money. They should never give you niggas money because you don't know what to do with it. We have to get back to, how you doing? Morning.
Afternoon, I mean.
Happy New Year. We have to get back to living in a state of Christ consciousness. We have to get back to living in a state of nobility, into a space of integrity, into a space of keeping our word, into a space of letting people go if they're not, or if they don't want to be with us. If people are fucking with us, we have to figure out. Now, of course, there's extreme cases, right? I always say if you have, a life or death situation, or somebody's like literally trying to take you out physically, right? Or fuck with your family, then by all means employ whatever root work, spell work, invocation work that's needed to protect and keep yourself safe. That's just basic law of nature, self-preservation. But if somebody cuts you off in traffic, if the person you chose to sleep with, male or female, right? Your baby mommy, your baby daddy, your boss at work, where you could just quit, right? When you could find for it, and you could use magic to look forward to find another career or another job, right? Instead of using magic to empower you and to overcome your challenges, right? So that you could gain spiritual power and the lessons from your challenges, right? Instead of doing spell work for clarity to open up your crown chakra, to open up your third eye, to open up your throat chakra so you could establish boundaries and let people know what you will and will not take. And a lot of this comes from reconciling with your inner child, reconciling your childhood trauma.
Why do so many people use weed to self-medicate?
Some people don't use marijuana to self-medicate. They use alcohol, and it may be less obvious. They use shopping, and it may be less obvious. They use sex, and it may be less obvious. They use work, and it may be less obvious. They use the gym, and it may be less obvious. They use service, and it may be less obvious. So many of us are self-medicating our trauma, doing the best that we can to survive, instead of dealing with the trauma head on to go through the pain until we're able to actually heal it.
See, the only way out is in. And you can manipulate the world using herbs, using candles, using crystals. I've done a lot of readings, right? I would say at least over 100 since 2017, since I started being active on the internet, doing consultations and stuff. And a lot of people, it's really about relationships, right? And even the most manipulative of motherfuckers, right? Because I don't judge what you come to me. I don't really judge what you do. That's what you do. I ain't doing no hex work for you. I've been there, done that. I ain't doing that no more. But if you say this is what you want to do, hey, I'll tell you the tools. You go and you go fuck around and find out, right? Because the law of the universe is what you reap, you shall sow. So you think that you're binding someone. You think that you're hexing someone. But what you do to someone, you really do to yourself, because we are all connected. There's a law of oneness, right? All is mental. And don't we all have minds, right? If the universe is mental, that's the first law of the Kabbalion, the first 7 of the universal laws, or the laws of Tahuti, really, right? The 7 universal laws is all is mental and all is mind. And we all have minds, including animals, right? We have crystals, magnetite crystals in our ear, magnetite crystals in our pineal, magnetite crystals in our brain, even crystals on our bones. Right? The same thing, and animals have the same type of crystals, these magnetite crystals that align us to nature, to align us to the animal kingdom. If we're all one, then that means anything we do to someone, it has to be just, right? There has to be an element of justice in it. And a lot of times we operate out of ego and selfishness, even in our magic, but yet we say we want a better world. Yet we say the Pilgrims bad because they put us in slavery. Yet we say Black Lives Matter, or if you're on the other side of the fence, right, these niggas ain't shit, right? Yet we say that we want peace, no justice, no peace. But are we really exemplifying that in our day-to-day lives? Or how we treat people, how we interact? Because the greatest spiritual protection is a high vibrational body. The greatest spiritual protection is a high vibrational body. The greatest spiritual protection is a high vibrational body. This is if you don't have any crystals or black tourmaline or black onyx or elite shungite. This is if you don't have access to an altar. This is if you don't have access to your holy garments, right? or your pendulums or whatever you're using for divination, your tarot cards and your I Ching and your oracle cards, right? This is when you get downloads straight from the divine on how to handle the situation appropriately. And the thing is, a lot of us think that we're supposed to be taking justice in our own hands when spirit is where all the power lies. Your spirit is where all the power lies. Your spirit is where all the motherfucking power lies. And the spirit that is within you is the same spirit that is circulating. This is your subconscious, right? You want to call it subconscious, right? Your Ra, your Chi, your Prana, right? It's controlled via your breath. It's the same subconscious that controls the rotations of the planets, the rotation of the earth, the solar flares, the sun, the stars, the supernovas, the black holes, your breathing, your ability to take my words and form them into sentences. This is the same subconscious that fights off disease without you even thinking about it, that provides you astral travels and dreams at night. So, as we embark upon this year, we really need to understand what we're doing this magic for. And some of these principles of Christhood and Christianity and Jesus, where he took care of the poor, where he took care of the sick, where he took care of the downtrodden, have been abandoned when we talk about the occult. And Jesus was a magician, no doubt about it. Jesus was an occultist, no doubt about it, right? If you delve into the myth of Jesus Christ, because it's really just a myth, right? For you. But if you listen to the lessons, that's part of the mythology. It's no different than watching like fucking He-Man or Power Rangers or whatever, right? There's a mythology. Aquaman or whatever, it's a mythology that has lessons in it. Avatar, the Last Airbender, right? It's a mythology that has lessons in it. But if you're not going to follow the lessons, if you're not going to tap into the lessons and become not a better human, but behave as God here on earth, just, balanced, wise, right? Fair, equitable, you know, then you can't expect all the spiritual protection if you're out here doing wicked shit. It's counterproductive. And the people that I do a lot of readings for, you know, they doing wicked shit to people. And they want to do wicked shit to people. But then they want to be spiritually protected after they do the wicked shit to people. What kind of bullshit is that? But we in the age of karma. And you're going to have to pay up this year for all the binding, for all the hexes, for all the negative spells that aren't just, that don't go according to the laws of nature. And you know if they're just. You know if you're hexing somebody just because you had an argument with them. You know if you're hexing somebody just because you broke up with them and you didn't like the way they talked to you of that last phone call or text they sent. You know if you're using this magic for evil or if you're using this magic for righteousness. And the more you use this magic for unrighteousness, the more you use this magic in nefarious means, right? People quote Aleister Crowley all the time, do as thou wilt. Aleister Crowley was a boy lover. He was a pedophile. That's who came with the philosophy of do what thou wilt. A pedophile. Aleister Crowley died penniless, broke, in a rooming house. Go study the history, don't believe me. But this is where niggas are getting their philosophy from. A corrupt cracker who didn't give a fuck about you, right? So we really need to analyze what we're doing. And it's not about like, when I say it's not about like being quote unquote a goody goody, right? Being out here an angel, right? There's no such thing as perfection because perfection has never been seen or achieved. Even the story of Jesus is missing years because during the age of 13 to 33, if you study the Aquarian gospel of Jesus, you'll see that Jesus went through a lot. If you study the story of Krishna, which is the equivalent of Jesus, you'll see that Jesus went through a lot, right? because you have to have experience. You have to go through trials in order to come to Christ consciousness, in order to be baptized in the waters within you, which is what the baptism represents, right? And to step into your high John, right? Your high John of joy, peace, and peace. Ultimately, again, we want to be the vanguard of the universe. We want to be the reason Wakanda resonated and people dressed up like Africans to go see Wakanda, because in our hearts of hearts, we know that's where we're supposed to be. And we could get there if we have that vision. But we have to learn to be equitable. We have to learn not to be wicked motherfuckers because we went through wicked shit. We got to heal our trauma. And then the more you heal your trauma, the more you will manifest. The more miracles will happen. The more you will see things come into existence. Good character is the best protection you could have. Nobility is the best magic you could produce. Because this is according to the laws of nature, the circle of life. So don't shun the secret societies for not giving you niggas all the answers that you won't even look up yourself, that you won't even study, because all the answers are out there. All the mysteries have been exposed if you do enough research. We're in the age of information, the age of Aquarius, the age of unfolding, the age of individuality. So figure out what your purpose is, figure out what your destiny is, and focus on that, right? And get back to that childlike Christ conscious state for real. Not the Christ conscious shit we just talk about as far as the ego and being a master magician, but being Christ-like. And I'm not talking about no turn the other cheek shit. We know part of the book was manipulated, right? But if you have love, again, you'll stand up for yourself. Christ-like love, you'll stand up for yourself. You'll flip the money tables. You'll be willing to go to war against the Pharisees. You'll be willing to separate yourself from those that don't love you and don't care about you. But you gotta purify that heart and get back to that childlike space. Children love everyone. They don't care. Because they just came back from the astral world. They just came back from what the Kamishas call the halls of Amenta, the divine sweet waters. We got to transform. And yes, I know a lot of us are going through the struggles and we may be, having to do things just to survive, but always have the vision of your higher Christ conscious self, of your purified self. And take that into your meditations, take that into your visualizations, take that into your spell work, and heal and transform. All right, y'all. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you need to think in the comments. Peace, power, prosperity, joy, and love.
A lot of people are really just fucked up people, and they use spirituality and consciousness to kind of hide that. Some people are just, you say I'm the black sheep. No, you really just a fucked up person. It's not that you're the black sheep. Like, say, even in the 3 people that you dropped, the 3 things you said you're going to lose becoming conscious. Yes, you're going to lose some family members. Yes, this and that's going to happen. But at the same time, you're going to find replacements for all of them. I tell you this, my godmom, let's go back to like 2011. When I was one of them people that on Sunday, I had
Persian bell, Persian.
I've been preparing all week to go in on Christianity on Sundays, right? And my godmom, it got to the point that whenever she saw me in person, she would grab my hands and pray, "Dear Lord, help him. Take that spirit off of him." And I'd be like, "What's that for?" That's some of that stuff you've been saying on that Facebook, but that's how she was, right? Well, mind you, I stayed being who I am, even though I wasn't afraid to be wrong either. Some people don't be afraid to be wrong. You might be thinking one thing, you find something out, there's no problem, throw it out, and you can progress forward what you do know. Well, fast forward to now, my godmom, she asked me to come to a party about 4 months ago. Gotta come there, son, you gotta come. So at first I was like, man, I'm not going to no old lady party, But I showed up. But the reason why she wanted me to come, she wanted to introduce me to her meditation circle. Dig that. So she went from being the person who was praying to get that spirit of the devil off of me to, I've been telling them all about you. We follow your, don't like nothing though, but we follow your posts. You be having some good stuff on chakras. These are crystals we got. And all of them, I'm going to say easily in their 70s.
Wow.
These are Christian mama. These are Christian grandmama. So what I'm saying is, don't resist that urge to pull back, because number one, you need people. And number two, there's other people who need you that you may not realize. You may not realize that there's somebody who's watching the gnosis, that they're watching you live your knowledge of self, and it is affecting how they view life. So again, some of y'all just fucked up people. And you gotta work with that. You gotta deal with that. You gotta be honest with yourself. It's not that you're the black sheep. It's not that you're the black sheep. It's not that you're a truther. None of that. You just really gotta work on who you are.
Your nervous system will always choose a familiar hell rather than an unfamiliar heaven. Your nervous system is connected to the trauma that you've been through, and it stores that trauma. And its number one job is to protect you and keep you safe. Here's the thing, is that your nervous system will protect you by keeping you comfortable. Comfort is the familiar hell. Uncomfort and pressing through the unknown, even though it's very scary, is the unfamiliar heaven. So get uncomfortable. Do the thing that is scaring you. Take the step, jump, whatever that might be, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up in a way better place.